Hello YouTube. Just give me a second while I get set up. I hope everybody is doing well, staying healthy. Um, Thanks so much for joining me for this live. Because you are joining live, there is a freebie for you in the description of this video, so make sure you check that out. I will remove the link to that freebie after today is done, so make sure you grab that. I'm just going to share this video really quickly. Okay, all right, I'm ready to begin. You probably have been following along that I've developed these 3 new packages, these bundle deals, and the way that I structured each one of them was off of the most common questions that I'm asked and the most frequent topics that I'm going over in detail with my coaching clients. And the first bundle I did a live on was about the facing narcissist in court and how to prepare for that. And that bundle contains all of that information. And just a reminder, the chat on YouTube Live goes very quick, so I don't always see all of the messages. So please wait until the end when I will have time to look at your questions. I just don't want to miss any. So anyway, the second bundle is built off of rebuilding your identity after coming out of a relationship with a narcissist. And the freebie that's in the description of this video is actually part of that bundle. So that predetermined choices worksheet is very practical. It just helps you kind of think through your long-term goals and how what you do in the short term can either help or hinder that. And what I mean by that is if you can come up with your long-term goals, what you do now, how you respond to situations in the present, can help you to line up with your long-term goals. So instead of just becoming overwhelmed by having to deal with a narcissist, you can actually sit down, make the choices that for you and your goals and your priorities line up the best. And from then you can make your decisions either in terms of verbal responses or actions accordingly. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That predetermined choices worksheet, as I said, is very practical. So it gives you some examples, first of all, of how to deal with a narcissist, maybe in terms of common issues that the narcissist may bring to you, common behaviors that the narcissist may do, and then taking the time to just come up with the predetermined choice about how you will respond to those things should those things come up. And another example is like if you have children with the narcissist, how will you respond to your children when they ask you questions about what is happening or about why the other parent does a certain thing or doesn't do a certain thing? And having those answers ready will prevent things from like either just being swept under the rug and you never answering your children or never addressing their questions, as well as making sure that that any issues that do come up are addressed immediately. So it's not just like you have a whole bunch of regrets that you either wish you would have handled differently or you wish you would have addressed but you never got around to it. So that can help you with that. That one is the freebie, so it's pretty self-explanatory. There are instructions on the freebie. So I'm not going to talk about that any longer. The one I want to go over in this live video is predetermined choices for your thoughts and your responses, just in general. And you can tailor this the way that this worksheet, which is actually 20 pages long, so this one is a little more in depth. This is part of the third bundle, which is on purpose, and that one will be released this Friday. This one is a little more in depth because it allows you to kind of think about your life as a whole and then tailor what you want to focus on in terms of maybe how you process the experience that you had with the narcissist, or any other issues that are still there with the narcissist. But you can go through literally every single part of your life. So your finances, your relationships, your current job or your business. And the way that this starts is to first start off with your own definitions. So there's 3 words that I'd like you to work on defining. The first is your definition of love. So what does that mean to you? How do you show love? What makes you feel loved? How do you receive love? How does that look to you? So think about that as completely as possible and write down your responses. And then you're going to do the same thing for commitment. What does it mean? What does that word mean to you? Does it mean, and in fact, I don't want to steer you in one direction or not. So just who or what are you committed to? How do you show or prove your commitment? What does it look like to have somebody committed to you? What to you is your definition of that? How do you receive commitment from others? So define that. And then the third word is joy. So what does that mean to you? How do you express joy? What does it mean to have your life filled with joy? What is the process for you to receive or experience joy? So write that down as well. So these should be 3 different sheets of paper, and you're just really making sure that you understand your own definition of these words when you use them in life in general. And so from those definitions, using those definitions that you wrote down for your own self, for your own life, we're moving on now to what does it look like to have more of those things in your life. So to have more love, to have more joy in your life, what would that look like? What would it mean to add those things in? Are there things that you would have to give up right now? Are there things that would have to shift in order to come in? Are you tolerating things right now that don't line up with your own definitions? This is a great exercise to do just periodically too, by the way, just to make sure that you're still staying on track to meeting your long-term goals. Again, your long-term goals, you should back plan from those. So you should be able to have a clear vision for your life, for your future, for your purpose, your family. Every area, every aspect of your life should have goals attached to them. And then you back plan off of those. So your short-term goals should be in support of your long-term goals. And it's impossible to properly plan if you don't understand your own definitions of, this is why when people are planning, like, let's say I just want to be successful in business. Okay, what does success actually look like to you? Because we all have a different definition, and this is why it's so important to just kind of do a check-in with yourself on a regular basis. And then reflect on your ability to receive these things. If you would like to have, more joy, more fulfillment in your life, how do you receive this? Do you have the capacity? Are you able to receive it? Because a lot of times we can get in our own way. We are the roadblock on our own journey. So, we would really like to, for example, have a best friend, or, meet new people, make new friends, get a different job, whatever. But we're unwilling to do all of the things necessary to get us into that position, right? And so this is kind of revealing any hindrances that may be internal in us that are keeping us from getting the thing that we ultimately want the most. And so yeah, just going through this exercise, it should probably take about 30 minutes to do. As I said, I wrote this into like a little ebook. It's 20 pages, but going through it should take about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And it's a good way to like release things from the past as well. So the next sheet is on misunderstandings about love, commitment, and joy that may have happened in the past that are still active because they still play a significant role right now in keeping you stuck in the past and not allowing you to step forward into your purpose. So, what does love, commitment, and joy have to do with any of your feelings, such as grief, shame, anger, sadness, etc., that you may still be carrying? So, being aware of the root cause of those feelings is really important, and how those feelings are tied to other issues in your life, such as love, commitment, and joy. The next sheet that we are going to go over is understanding the right ingredients that are required for a relationship to work. And by this, I just mean any type of relationship. So how do you personally, not taking into account the way that other people do it, but you personally, how do they work together for you? How do these things impact the relationship in terms of how they go well or if they don't go well? This can be a working relationship between you and a coworker, you and your boss. This can be you and a friend. Any type of relationship will require these ingredients. And so understanding your own, again, definition of this and the way that you display these things is going to be really vital, as well as helping you to clear up any confusing things that are in your current relationships. So if there's things that are confusing you or kind of stressing you out, it could be just because that you've tied something to that relationship that you haven't sorted out internally. And getting that unblocked will allow you, if necessary, if there is an actual issue that you need to communicate to the other person or people with or about, you will be able to do that much more clearly, freely, and coherently if you first get why this is happening internally figured out. So that sheet will help you do that. Okay, so moving on, just a little bit ago, like I was talking about success, we all have different definitions of that. So these abstract things that we all want more of, right? We all want to be fulfilled. We all want happiness. We all want to belong. They're abstract, and yet they require real change, real commitment, and a commitment to a process of developing the skills necessary in order to develop and grow into those abstract categories of success or happiness. And without being true to who you are, you will find yourself in constant cycles of life that keep repeating. So either, you've just made a bunch of new friends and it's going really good, but then something always happens where you need to leave that group and go make a different group of friends. You're going to find that the cycles in your life are actually showing you the places that still need improvement. So being able to identify those in yourself honestly, without trying to make excuses for why that's happening or put blame on other people, is really going to serve you well. And when you're doing this part of the exercise, remember that you can't control how other people behave. You can only control your response to their behavior. So if you refer back to some of the difficulties that you may be having in your relationships right now, what are the parts that you play in those scenarios? Are you upfront with your communication? Is your communication direct and honest? If you can look at how your actions are impacting these relationships, it will really help you, again, get to the root or underlying cause or the underlying reason as to why you are behaving or engaging in that type of behavior with other people when it's really the opposite thing that you like. So for example, if you are actually after like a true connection, you're looking to belong somewhere, and yet you find yourself always pushing people away, getting to the root or underlying cause of why that is and dealing with that issue will free up this space emotionally and mentally for you to actually be available to engage in a meaningful relationship that will lead to the thing that you actually want, which is belonging. So the first part of this is for the purpose. This is the third and final bundle in this series again. This one is the most in depth for this reason. So sometimes there's phases of healing, and when you first get out of the relationship with a narcissist, it could be all that you're just trying to do to make sense of what happened and trying to rebuild. And that, for that reason, bundle 2 is what you need, the identity one, the one that will help you kind of get back on track and get a plan together for your life. This bundle is more in depth, and it will help you truly be free of any old things that you might still be carrying around that are actually still very much active and impacting your life now. So I realize if this is seeming overwhelming to you, that it could just be that you're not in the right stage, to go through this right now, and I totally get that. But you can always bookmark this video and come back to it when you're ready. Okay, so write out some of the things that you could start doing differently after you've gone through all of those other pages and you have taken a real look about what you are doing, what you're responsible for in terms of your relationships, where you are in life, and things like that. You can start looking at the scenarios that come up again and again and really look at what you need to change. So you can redirect your energy into what you want most, instead of kind of always feel like what you want most is just out of grasp, just right out of your reach. And this can be from things as simple as, let's say, you really want to change careers, and there's a test or an exam that you need to undergo, or there's a certification that you need to get, and you just can't seem to find the time to get it done. And yet you see that if you do an analysis of where you're spending your time, you see that you're actually spending your time doing things that you don't want to do because you feel like you can't say no to people. Maybe you're always going out with your coworkers after work, and you don't really want to be doing that, but you just feel pressure to going out with them. So taking a look at the things that aren't really lining up with your values and with your overall goals is going to help you decide the things that need to get changed. And what the purpose of going through this is to give you an idea of what your life could look like if you were willing to change some of your behavior, if you were willing to have different boundaries, if you were willing to put up different responses instead of saying yes or instead of saying no, whatever one is your go-to answer. And you were really willing to be true to who you were and who you were created to be and how you were created to behave and the purpose that you're here to do. So get that idea in your head, like, what would my life look like if I was able to make this change? If I really did go get that certificate, if I stopped going out with my friends or my coworkers after work every single day, and I took the time to get that extra certification, or I went back to school or whatever, what would my life look like? So really go through those things. If it can be like I said, as simple as that, or maybe that for you, maybe you spend too much time watching TV every night. What would it look like if you changed that behavior? Or maybe you just can't say no to your mom and dad, or maybe you just, whatever it is for you. If you look at the things that you don't necessarily want to be doing, but you just find yourself doing them, like, get off of autopilot. Use this as an opportunity to really evaluate what you're doing and come up with a solid plan for moving forward. So, the end of this, I created a few different categories, but you can create as many as you want to do. So I created the finances, families, job or business, friendships, and faith categories. So those 5 ones are the ones left to do an evaluation on. So think about your predetermined choices for these things. So the whole point of going through this whole exercise is to get rid of the old behavior, the old mentality, the old mindsets that are keeping you stuck or repeating the same cycles over and over, and to start putting in place new systems, new beliefs, new thought processes for how you will view and behave towards these things moving forward. So, for example, with your finances, maybe my overall goal is to have $1,000 as an emergency fund set up, for example. This means that my day-to-day predetermined choices are going to need to include what kind of behavior adjustments for me. Maybe I'm used to always getting a Starbucks coffee on my way to work. That can be an easy change, but it's a predetermined choice that I need to be committed to, and I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write that I'm not going to get a coffee. I'm going to pack my lunch every day. I'm going to come up with a budget and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to hire a financial coach, whatever I need to do, right, in order to achieve that. And so I'm going to write down my daily predetermined choices for that. The next category is for families. So maybe for you, you want to be able to spend more time with your children, or you just kind of want to be more present even. Maybe it's not the amount of time. Maybe it's just the way that you connect to them. Maybe you just want to have a deeper connection or relationship with them. So if that's the overall goal, what are the daily things that you need to change in terms of your mindset, your behavior? All of those things affect it. So what do you need to do to grow closer to your kids, your spouse, your best friend, whatever that is? Maybe this is I'm going to get together with my best friend every single week and we're going to have breakfast together. Whatever it is for you, and your schedule and your overall goals. So think about all of these things, go through each of those categories and make predetermined choices ahead of time for them. This is going to help eliminate a lot of emotional and mental stress. So the next time that you're asked, for example, you're trying to do this emergency fund of $1,000, you're trying to save that up. When you are asked to go on a coffee date, or if you are asked to go out to lunch or to dinner and it's just not in the budget, you've already made the predetermined choice of being committed to setting up your emergency fund, your $1,000. And so you know that the answer needs to be no. And this will help you to not only get your goal of $1,000 started, but it will also bring you truer to yourself, like closer to your true being. And the more that you do that, the further into your purpose you're going to go. And so this has many second and third order effects when you are staying true to your predetermined choices. And again, after leaving a narcissist, after coming out of a relationship with a narcissist, this is really important that you learn how to be committed to yourself, because you need to treat you the way that you want others to treat you. If you just believe that other people are just going to treat you in a good way, that's a very nondescript, kind of idea for it, and it implies a lot of lack of boundaries. It tells me that you don't even have a real definition for what you think it means to be treated right. So these are ways that you can actually start investing in yourself and setting up for yourself, establishing for yourself, and therefore setting an example for how you want other people to treat you. It's twofold. It both keeps narcissists away from you, helps you establish boundaries so that this doesn't happen to you again, and it also heals the past by allowing you to go back through and taking a real honest evaluation of your behavior and your contribution to how you ended up with a narcissist, and to get you on a different path by pushing you further and further into your purpose. The more committed you are to your true self, your true identity, the more into your purpose you're going to get. So um, that is pretty much all I have for you for today on this video. I just want to go over predetermined choices and responses. These are really important, and as I said, I go over these with my clients. Every single client that I have, I always have them go through and make predetermined choices for themselves, because oftentimes we're just looking for other people to tell us what's right or what's wrong, but nobody can make that decision except for you. And this is a great way for you to really discover who you are, and then to be committed or faithful to that person. So I hope you will take time and go through and do each one of these steps that I just listed here. If you're interested in buying the overall bundle, it's filled with things. This third bundle is really, really packed with a lot of stuff. You can pre-order all 3 packages. They're $30 each, but you can pre-order them right now for only $50. That's on my website. The description, in the description of this video, the link to that pre-order kit is available there for you. And yes, well, that is it. So you guys, thanks so much for joining me. And I hope that you will take some time, especially right now, and go through and do these predetermined choices. Don't forget to get your freebie. Click the link in the description to get that. I'm going to remove that link after today. Okay, so blessings to you guys, and I will talk with you soon.